steps are freaking a lot. Okay, there we go. All right, we're good now. Okay.
This is Barely Furcasting, featuring Taebyn, an Injured Nerves audio production. Hello, every fur in the Potterverse. I'm your guest producer for this episode, Rayne Raccoon. And with me are our two hosts for this episode, the Jeopardy kitty who's oh so witty, Bucktown Tiger, and the pup who knows what's up, Taebyn.
Right, I know what's up. Hi, all you furs out there in the Potterverse. Thank you for listening to us again. If you're listening, and if you're not listening, then I don't thank you, but you don't know that I don't thank you because you're not listening. And with me as Mr. Rayne Raccoon explained, or said, I guess, he didn't really explain it, but I'll explain now. We have the wonderful, wonderful kitty, Bucktown Tiger, with us today as Barely is out. And so we have a wonderful co-host. Thank you so much, Mr. Bucktown, for agreeing to co-host with me on this pup episode. So my name is Taebyn. I'm a park pup. I'm not a park, but sometimes I bark in the park because I am a pup instead. And so thank you, Mr. Bucktown, for being with us. It's so good to hear you again. How is it going for you these days?
Well, I'm just amazed because y'all took a very, very big step down, going in co-host quality because, this is probably going to crash and burn. But it is great to be here. Thank you so much for the invite. Forward to having a great time with all of you listening in the audience, in the nether regions, and the upper
and the
regions.
The
all the
things
regions
are doing stuff. Yes. Well, hi. I don't know if you know Mr. Bucktown, but we have a furries in the news section, which we'll get to later. But I actually have a news item that's not really a furries in the news thing, so I thought I'd just get this news item out of the way. This is something I just came across just yesterday. It's a very shocking event that happened in New Scotland Yard. Do you want to hear this wonderful trivia story, I guess?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was in the news. It was totally amazing that just recently vandals broke into New Scotland Yard. And nothing was stolen, but it was really weird. They didn't steal anything, but they destroyed every single one of the toilets. This was really crazy. I know, right? What? So an official spokesperson for this event, I guess you could call it an event, whatever, said that we will carry on a thorough investigation, but at this moment in time, we have absolutely nothing to go on.
Oh my goodness, that's whoever put that news release together. They were on one. They were on more than one. They were on at least two, maybe three. One doesn't cut it. That was like high quality punnery.
Is that?
Well, I don't know where to go from there. I
don't even know where to go. Well, let's just move on, shall we? Move on. Like the cows we are. So
we're going to move on and not lose on?
Apparently not in Scotland Yard, they're not.
They're not losing in Scotland. No.
They're not doing that. They're not doing that.
I wonder if they have bidets. I'm sure the bidets are like just spouting everywhere now.
Yeah, but not only for days, but nights too. Yes, so seriously, furs, I hope some furs are still listening because we've got more things to talk about.
Hope it wasn't dinner time.
Yeah, I hope not, right? Because especially not in Scotland Yard. So we have these little segments on this show, and for any fur that didn't know, the Tiggy here has actually been a guest in the guest spot of our shows twice. Isn't that exciting? Twice.
I know, right?
And this is actually, for your information, Bucktown, we've been doing this over a year now. This is going to be, episode 23 of season 2, meaning the second year we've done this.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we've been going. And there are some furs that actually listen to this for whatever reason. And we actually, what's interesting is the cities that most listen to the Pupcast here for whatever reason is San Jose, California and Columbus, Ohio. And they're like neck to neck. Like sometimes San Jose will be more that particular month, and then sometimes Columbus will be more, and it's kind of fun to watch the rivalry that's happening.
Shout out to Columbus, huge. That was my first guest spot was in Columbus. Had a great time. I mean, there's a whole lot of history there. So I mean, I guess there was another event going on right at the beginning of my concert, and so that's why I released shop music, and so everything was out of sorts. Of course, I'm always running on on CFT. You know, I was like 30 minutes late for everything, but I finally
Oh,
get to, you know, there's a Furry
free
Standard Time,
time.
which is
Got it.
15
Got it.
minutes, and then there's another 15 minutes for something else. And so, but I went on stage. In my opening number, there were three people in the room. There was me, there was there was a guy, and then there was one of my friends with his camcorder. So he was literally
Oh,
camcording
nice.
an empty room. Like,
That's very exciting. Wow. The crowd, aka cameraman, goes wild. I
pretty
guess.
much.
Nice,
Shout out to
nice.
Kia if you're listening.
Yeah. Did anyone else actually show up by the end?
Quite a few by the end.
Oh, good,
But
good.
just I guess timing just didn't work out. But
It's timing.
it was a blast. I had a blast.
Good, nice, nice. So Columbus, I tell you, we've got it going on. We've got no one in the no one in the audience, and then we've got first listening to the podcast. I mean, it's just all over the place. It's craziness. Well, wow. This is a journey of. I'm so excited for this journey. Are you excited for this journey? I'm excited for this journey.
Where does it go?
I don't. You know,
Where it
and
stops,
any
nobody knows.
Nobody knows. Any further that listens to the Pupcast knows that it sure sounds like we don't even know where the show's gonna go because it's kind of crazy. We try and keep it together via little sections, but it still goes on. Oh, and so for any further that doesn't know what Bucktown is an amazing keyboardist kitty and has wonderful stuff. And so that would be the a show he was just talking about. And shout out to us. We actually 5 minutes. Oh, hold that thought.
Uh-oh.
It's a good thing.
5 Minute Furs is live.
Okay.
We're just waiting for somebody to come in.
There's a really good thing that we like record this and edit later because there can be editing, and every time I say anything, Rayne or Barely can like just edit it out. So that's a really wonderful thing. Sometimes they leave it.
And if you want Taebyn to say something, all you have to do is hold up a sign or hold up fingers, and he'll say something every time.
I really will. Oh, I was going to shout out to us. We, meaning Bucktown and this pup right here, did a few songs together. Like, what did we do? Like 5 or 6 songs at Furlandia 2018, I think.
2019.
2019.
2019. Yeah, you forget. I don't know anything, obviously. We did more
I wanna
things.
wake
We
up
were
the
both
house.
guest of honors then. Yeah, it is. This puppy brain doesn't know anything. Well, while we're waiting for a fur to come in, we can talk about the past today. And Bugtown, ask me, what is this thing called the past today of which you speak?
What is this thing called the past which you speak it?
That is a wonderful-eth questioneth. I'm so glad you asked. It is this section on the show where like things come up from like the last show or previous shows or something that I've listened to, or just things unanswered questions, and so now we answer them. And so last week's episode in the math section, I talked about order of operations, like arithmetic and stuff. And then I had said next week, meaning this week, I would just talk briefly about the history of the order of operations, because like people want to know, where do they even come from? Why do we do this? But I want to pose to you, Bucktown, to see. So there was kind of this arithmetic question that kind of drove the whole math thing. And so I figured I'd ask you, because I assume you didn't listen to last week's episode, because it's not even out yet until 2 days from now. So
Go in the future.
for the future. Do that sound again? That was adorable.
Go back to the future. No.
Oh, so for this, you need you have something to write with and write on.
I got mine. I can just.
You got your mind?
my head.
Okay. It's not a big question. So think 8 and then the divided by sign.
Uh-huh.
The horizontal with the 2 dots, which is,
Yeah.
by the way, called an obelus. And
Obelus.
then 2,
Okay.
open parentheses,
Okay.
2 plus 2, close parentheses. And so that's it. So let me say it again. 8
8
divided by sign. Mhm.
divided by sign, and then 2 parentheses
Uh-huh.
2 plus 2.
But yeah, exactly. So what do you think the answer is?
Oh my goodness. I actually got into an argument on Twitter about this, and it's crazy. So the way I was approaching it, because having done college level math stuff a long time ago, you think about divided sign and you want to just immediately draw that imaginary bar and put the 8 on top of the bar and then put everything else under. That's actually the way it's written. the way you dictated it, that's not the way it's supposed to go. It has to go left to right. And in this case, do obviously the inside the parentheses first. 2 plus 2 is 4. Minus 1, that's 3. Quick maths. Yeah.
It's
Shout
true.
out to
It's
Romance
true.
Shack. Everyday man's on the block. But so you got the 4, and then times 2 is 8, and then 8 divided by 8 is 1. Is the way you would think it would go. But if you look at 8 and then the little obelisk, whatever word,
Obelisk. I just learned that last week myself.
obelisk. So 8 obelisk 2, you have to do that first, and then that becomes 4, and then 4 distributes into 2 plus 2, and so 2 plus 2 is 4, and then times 4 is 16. So some people say it's 1, some people say it's 16. So what do I say it is? Well, with that, and that's why most mathematicians don't use the obulus. How do you say it?
Yeah, I do.
They,
Exactly.
they don't use it because you can get misinterpretations, and so
Yeah.
the way it's written out, like if you put it in a computer, I think it'll spit out 16.
Ding, ding, ding. You got it absolutely correct. And this is exactly what I talked about last week in the math, that the answer is 16 for the exact same reasons that you said. And I'm not surprised that you got that because, well, you're trivia kitty. You know, like lots of things. And that's exactly right. It's because of the typesetting that people would normally write a slash back before they had the little obelisk or whatever it's called. But yeah, 1 is the typical answer, but 16 is it. Mr. Smart Kitty, that's amazing.
Well, I mean, I have to give a shout out to one of my buddies, Drew, who essentially explained to me why it was not
Oh.
1, because I was about to die on the hill. There was 1, and then Drew said, well, if you look at it this way, 8 omulus 2 is the same as 8 times 1/2. So it's 8 times 1/2.
Exactly.
Obviously, that's 4, and then 4 times 4, 16.
Yeah. That's a good way to explain it too, actually. Yeah. So, and it's for these reasons that it's always good to like put in parentheses. So, like you would put it in parentheses around the 8 divided by 2 to make sure that you do it. So, no, that's great, great. Do you have any past today for us, Bucktown? I should ask. It's okay if the answer is no.
Let's see. Past today was so that's like stuff that you saw online recently that you want to talk about?
Well, typically it's stuff we talked about on the show that we didn't know the answer to, so we researched it and then came back and said the answer. But if you had something recently that you saw that was exciting to you, you can share it with us. Or maybe you saw nothing exciting, and that's exciting too.
Most exciting thing that I saw recently was just the other day. I was going to pick up the niece from camp, and I saw this big black cloud of smoke, and I'm thinking,
Oh.
well, here they come. Yeah,
The
here we
murder
go again.
hornets?
Yeah, I mean, it could have been, very well could have been. But I thought it was, right around the corner because it was a huge, big black smoke. I'm like, are they electing another pope already? Really?
Oh.
No, I checked Twitter. I was like, no, Pope Francis is still alive. Okay, so it's not that. Besides, we're not in Rome, right? And then it turns out that there was a recycling plant that caught fire, like just
Oh,
boom.
wow.
And they had to call in every fire truck in the county to try to put this fire out. And I thought it was right around the corner. Turns out, no, it was way across the river, 20 miles away, and it looked like it was right down the street. I
Wow.
thought that, wow. And I haven't
End of
driven
days.
by to see the wreckage. But it's bad. It was a recycling plant. Like I thought we were supposed to be recycling, and now we can't
I know.
recycle. What do we do with
Yeah.
all these empty
Wow.
bottles and cans? What do we do with it?
Wow. Well, that
know
is
what to say.
exciting. Yeah. And you live to tell about it. That's amazing.
Luckily, yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess.
Okay, so
I'm glad they didn't try to recycle me like they, like all the jokes
Yes.
that I've recycled.
yeah, yeah. No, I think I apparently do that too. So I could have gone up in smoke too. Apparently. Oh
Hey,
wow!
Looks like we got somebody. All right, let me take the link down.
Oh my! Wow! You didn't take it down fast
I
enough.
didn't take
You've
it down
got
fast
two.
enough.
Wow! So
Oh,
all you
goodness.
furs out there in the Podiverse, we have not one, Not two, but that's a lie because we have two furs that came in for 5-minute furs for fun.
Oh, this is gonna be
so
awesome.
exciting.
It's
We've
a
even got
It's a fivesome.
It's a five.
Fivesome.
And we actually have a returning fur, Misha B. Barkin, who is actually a guest on one of our shows. Hello, Misha. How are you, Barkin?
Hello, I'm doing good.
Yay.
I mean, if you want me to go, I can.
No,
Okay,
it's a
okay.
party. It's only a 5-minute party.
Okay.
And we also have Caledon. I always say that wrong. How are you doing? It's been so long since I've seen you, Cal. How are things?
I'm surviving.
Anyway, yeah. So and Cal used to be at one point was were you vice chair of Furlandia? I forget your official.
Yeah, second to last
Second to last year.
I was vice chair.
Yes.
Nice.
Most of the years I did logistics for Rayne Raccoon and security and the Navy has it right. Never again volunteer yourself.
Yeah. And Barely is always saying that, he's all these great ideas, and when we go to cons and stuff and we get done with the con, he's always like, I have all these great ideas, and he feels like he wants to say things, and then he remembers, no, don't tell anyone. Don't go to the hiss and purr and tell the board or anything all your ideas, because then they'll want him on the board. And it's like, I don't have time for that. So yeah, it's just like you say, don't volunteer for anything.
Well, you can always turn it down. You don't have to join.
That is an option. That's actually very good advice for all you furs. And Misha and Cal, I don't know if you knew that Barely is out this particular week, and so we have the elusive, the famous, the incredulable, which is a word that I don't think I'm using appropriately, but there it is, Mr. Bucktown Tiger with us as my co-host this week. So say hi. Do you both know who Bucktown Tiger is?
Oh, I know who Bucktown is. I have watched him perform many times.
Nice. And Misha, do you know who Bucktown is?
I've seen him in one video.
Oh.
So I'm not super familiar.
He's right up there with Pepper
I'm not
Kennedy
super familiar,
and,
no.
A bunch of other famous furries.
He's playing keyboard right now.
Oh.
Yeah, hey.
Okay.
Oh, hey, yeah.
Oh, hey.
Oh, yeah.
No, I've seen the one video that you shared, Taebyn. I've seen that one. But other than that, no, not really.
Okay, well, you're just going to have to go check it out. But Bucktown is actually one of my original furry inspirations. So, yeah, you definitely got to go check out his stuff. Definitely.
Yeah.
So Cal.
Yes, sir.
And Misha, so how are you? What's going on in your lives these days?
Not much. Staying quarantined.
Well, good for you. Good for you. I mean, we don't want the COVID, so that's good. So you're sitting there, and that's great, and that's what you do.
I've already had it twice.
Oh, you did?
Oof. Yeah, I had it back in February, and then I got vaccinated, and then I was supposed to go for a procedure, and they wanted to do a COVID test to make sure that I wasn't going to walk into the hospital with it, and I came up positive again, so they were like, nope, gotta wait 20 or 10 or 15 days before we can do this, so that all had to get rescheduled. And
did it end up going through and everything?
No, they're in the attempt of rescheduling it. This happened the beginning of August.
Oh, okay.
And so I just got a call like yesterday that they're going to try and reschedule it.
Okay. Well, I hope it goes soon and quickly and wonderfully for you.
It's going to go fine.
You definitely don't look too worried, actually.
It's something that people of my advanced age have to have done at this time of their life.
Okay.
And I'll leave it at that.
Well, it's probably... Yeah, when you said that, for all you furs out there, when Cal just said that, Bucktown, went away for a moment. He just yeah, I'm out. I'm not even going to deal with that. And Misha, what's going on with you these days? You're still putting out the YouTubes, I see.
Yeah, I started doing 2 videos a week, so I've been really busy with that.
Oh, wow.
I got a job that's at night, so I don't have to deal with people. So that's pretty great.
Nice. That's great.
Nice.
But yeah, I've been in the same boat with just quarantining. I've somehow managed to avoid COVID this entire time.
Well, good for you.
So that's really good.
Yeah.
But,
That is.
yeah, just kind of keep on keeping on.
So I think I remember, Misha, when you were a guest on the show, which was, I think it was at the beginning of this season. It wasn't too long ago. I remember you saying that you were going to just start trying. You weren't sure if you'd be able to, but going to try and do 2 videos a week. That was kind of your challenge to yourself or something. So apparently you've kept up with it, huh?
Yeah, for the most part. I've had to miss a few, but, that's going to happen. But yeah, I've been sticking with it.
Nice.
It's kind of nice because I can just be like, oh, I'm not prepared this week. No video. And everyone's like, oh, okay, cool.
Okay,
we're fine with that.
Yeah.
That's super cool. Yeah, everyone's just like super chill with it.
Nice. So Cal and Misha, you have what's the word I used? Conglomerative Bucktown Tiger? I forget what the adjective I used was. But you have the conglomerative Bucktown Tiger on the line. What would you like to ask Mr. Bucktown Tiger?
Play the lick.
No.
Several years ago when I first heard you doing your thing, I probably would have had a ton of questions. Now it's just, you're amazing. So I got nothing to ask. I just, keep doing what you're doing, man. It's amazing to listen to you.
I will keep going to work and going to sleep and eating occasionally, and I mean
That we approve.
Occasionally.
that's pretty
Yeah.
much been it when it comes to COVID. I mean, they say working from home is great, but I mean, to be honest, it's nice to have a routine. And when you wake up and you go directly to work, it's pretty tough to separate your work life from your not work life. And our case, maybe you call it a second life. Speaking of which, does my second life login even work anymore?
That's a good question.
I probably need to look into that. Hopefully, nobody's like stolen it. But other than that, yeah, it's just a matter of trying to live life the best I can, and I'm just happy to have so many wonderful people in my corner, and hopefully you feel the same way that there are a lot of people in your corner as you go through life, as the fur that you are, and as the person that you are. I mean,
Nice.
furry is who you are. It's not, the entirety of you, but I'm sure it's a huge part.
Nice. Like Bucktown just did our parting shot thing right there. Good for you.
Oh, did I?
No, that's good. It's just you just inadvertently just had these amazingly inspirational things to say, and that's wonderful.
Well, there goes that.
So, Mr. Barkin, since you know Bucktown so incredibly well, I know you must have a million questions, but we'll have to limit it to just one. What one amazing question do you have for Mr. Tiggy right here?
I guess I play music also, so I guess my question would be how does one even get started with playing music in the furry community?
Mm-hmm.
Like, how does one, I don't know how to word it, but how do you get to a point where you're able to get gigs and play music in the community?
Well, I got my start basically doing like the variety shows, the masquerades. Yeah, it's kind of tough to do that, with COVID basically shutting everything down. But I really got my first music performance was at MFM over in Memphis. I was part of their masquerade, and I did a number. I think I did "Eye of the Tiger," this stereotypical tiger song.
Nice.
And I guess people liked it, and it basically grew from there. It's just, do you play in fursuit or out of fursuit? Like, how do you do it?
I do both,
You do
in
both.
and out.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, and you say you're a
I
guitarist?
play woodwinds, and I'm learning drums.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah.
I can see you and Taebyn throwing down, like having a jam session.
Should have a drum off. The
Yeah.
Pups
we
drum
gotta-
off.
Yeah, so definitely, masquerades, variety shows was where I got my start. But I mean, honestly, with COVID having changed everything, I think what you're doing now, putting out new content is great. And you'll find that even if you feel like a video that you put out in a week isn't your best video, it's a lot of times good just go ahead and put it out, because there are things not only that you'll learn from it, but that your fans will come to appreciate, as you get better and better and better in your productions and your performances, the times when, maybe something didn't work out just the way you want. Who knows? You might accidentally find a sound that is quintessentially you. Dizzy Gillespie.
Quintessential?
Yeah, quintessential. I think that's a word. I have to look it up. But Dizzy Gillespie, the famous jazz musician, someone dropped his trumpet or ran it over on a truck or something like that.
Oh,
Anyway,
really?
yeah, so the trumpet ended up getting bent. Dizzy picked it up and started playing it. Really liked the sound, and he's played that trumpet for the rest of his career. And so
Is
that was
that why it's like that?
Yep.
I was gonna ask, is that that's how it got bent? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
I didn't know that there was a whole origin story.
Fell
We
off
just
the band
learned it.
truck.
We all just
Yeah.
earned a CEU already for this episode, so that's great.
One of if I can pitch in on that, Misha, one of the things I heard, it kind of translates over to what you're looking at. I'm an amateur writer. Okay, I haven't had anything published, but in writing for conventions and stuff, I had a chance to sit down with a couple of different published artists, and one of the things that they said was, don't do it for everybody else, do it for yourself.
Amen.
Enjoy
what you do. There will be an audience.
I mean, we have like 1 or 2 listeners to this podcast, so I think that's definitely case in point right there. That like, I mean, listen to us. What are we even doing? But someone's going to listen to it.
Well, yeah, but I mean, if you like what you do, that will come through in your music, and other people will pick up on it. That's why Bucktown is as accomplished as he is. I think is because people like listening to what he does, and it's the same thing with Pepper Coyote and Foxes. They're both amazing people, and that's why I love listening to the stuff that they produce.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, me too.
Wow.
Yeah.
We've got so much inspiration going on here. It's so great. And since it's so inspirational, it probably means that the 5 minutes is up.
The 5 minutes has
too much
long
inspiration.
since surpassed. It's
If any further that actually listens to this does not listen to this podcast for inspiration, so we better stop this right now because.
Have a great time. Thanks for coming.
Yeah. Okay. Wow, that was fun. That was exciting. We had a party, a fur tea, I guess. I don't know. Speaking of recycled jokes, I was going to tell 2. And for time, should I tell one or both of them?
Let's tell both.
Just tell them both. Okay, I'll tell them both. Why not? Live on the edge. So, there was this doctor, right? There's this doctor, and he had this assistant, and he had to go out to a doctor's conference for a few days. And so he said, Mr. Assistant, because he had trusted his assistant very much. And he said, okay, Mr. Assistant, could you please take over? And if I have any patients over the next few days, could you please take them over while I'm at the conference? And the assistant says, well, sure, Mr. Doctor, I can do that for you and help you out. So the doctor goes away, and he comes back a few days later and says, Mr. Assistant, how was it? Did you have any patients while I was gone? And assistant says, yes, I actually had 3 assistants. And like, oh, wow, could you tell me all about them? And so the assistant says, yeah, so the first one came in, and he had this bad cough, like badder up. I don't know. More bad. So apparently he plays baseball. More bad than he's ever had before. And so doctor says, oh, yeah, so what did you do for him? And the assistant says, well, I prescribed him some extra strength Robitussin, basically. The stuff we keep behind the shelf. And doctor says, oh, yeah, that's exactly what I would have done. Very, very, very good. So what about the second one? Assistant says, oh, well, this young lady came in. She had this horrible rash on her thigh that she didn't know what to do about or where she even got it. Doctor said, oh yeah, so what do you do about that? And I said, well, I prescribed some of that, behind the desk we have that special strength triple antibiotic thing that you can rub on. And And she called the next day and said, yeah, that did it. And said, oh, that's perfect. That's exactly what I would have done. So the third one, tell me about the third one. And so the assistant says, well, this attractive young lady came running into the room. She took off all her clothes. She got completely naked, and she just laid down on the operating table right there, right in front of me. And she yelled, I have not seen a man in 2 days. Not even 2 days, 2 months. That's amazing. The doctor says, that's incredible. What did you even do in that situation? And the assistant says, well, I gave her eye drops for her eyes.
What the?
Because it takes a few minutes, but there you go. And so, speaking of doctors, there was this police officer, and he was manning a speed trap on the highway one day, and he observed a car that was going way, way, way too slow, and it was going so slow that it was causing a backup for all the other cars, and this was no good. So, the cars couldn't even pass, and so the policeman turned on his sirens and had the slow moving vehicle pull over, and so they did that, and it happened to be a carload of 4 nuns. And the policeman says, good afternoon, sister. Do you know why I pulled you over today? And the sister says, hello, my son. Well, that doesn't sound like a sister unless the sister is going through transition, apparently. So the sister says, hello, my son. No, I'm sorry. I don't know why you... Wow, this is a very deep-voiced sister. Don't know why you have stopped us. So maybe, okay, so she really says, no, I'm sorry to say I don't know why you've stopped us, although I must admit we don't leave our nunnery very frequently, and I haven't driven in quite some time. Perhaps maybe we have a tailgate out or tail light, or we don't have registration or something. I don't. The policeman says, no, I've actually pulled you over because of your speed. Sister says, whatever do you mean? I was driving the speed limit. It's posted right there. It says 25 miles per hour. And the nun points to the sign that she's talking about. And the officer looks at the sign and says, no. That's not the speed limit sign. That's the highway sign. You are driving on Route 25. And this is a freeway, right? So that's a little slow for a freeway. But that's not even the end of the joke. Because then the policeman looks at the other nuns in the car, and the other nuns are they're sheet white. They are scared to death. They are grabbing each other for dear life. And the officer says, wait, sister, what in the world is wrong with the other 3 back there? Why are they so scared? And sister says, well, I'm sorry to say that we just got off Route 167. And so there's that. Just move on, I guess. Oh, Rayne, what are we even doing right now? What's happening?
I don't know, but I think we're getting off the rails.
Dun, dun, dun. Yes. So speaking of rails, let's talk about the media. So Mr. Bucktown, the media section is where we kind of talk about what we've been watching or reading for the week and that type of thing. So I'll just start out. How's that? And say, so this week I've been watching this show called Never Have I Ever. It's a Netflix show. Have you heard of this show, Bucktown?
I have not heard of the show. I generally don't watch Netflix because I'm too hot to chill. So, the whole Netflix and
You're just running around like the Tiggy you are. Yeah. No,
but now I did watch Netflix. When there was a particular show. It was called Tiger King. I did watch that.
I heard of that. I haven't seen it, but I mean, of course you watched it.
Of course. Yeah,
so what is that show about? I've heard of it, but I haven't seen it.
Well, Tiger King is about a tiger guy, I guess, who saw a tiger and tiger saw a man. However the song goes. Lay down your guns but Never Have I Ever. I'm interested in what this show is about.
Yeah, it's actually pretty good. For any that heard last week's episode, I talked about it. It's about this high school Indian girl named Devi, and she's got so many issues. She's just Anyway, it's actually really good. It's about this high school girl, as I say, and she's got all these issues and everything, and it's a comedy, and it's funny, and it's really good, and really I mean there's nothing extremely noteworthy about it other than it's a really good, funny show. And they're like 25-minute episodes, so it's a good thing to watch while you're having lunch or dinner or something. So I recommend checking that out. There's this other show called Mike and Molly. Have you heard of Mike and Molly?
I've heard of it. I can't say I've watched a lot of it, but I've heard of Mike and Molly. It's about a guy named Mike and a lady named Molly, I'm thinking.
Where's the ding 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 sound, Rayne? We need it. Because that's the correct thing. That is a very smart thing that you said. Because it is about, they're like big people, and it's about them. And it's really good. Some people like it, some people don't. It's a comedy. It's really good. And Lucifer. Have you heard of the show Lucifer?
I have heard Lucifer. That's a pretty cool show.
Oh, you've seen? Yeah, it is. It's very, very good. We're in season 4. We just started season. I don't know if you've heard Bucktown, but so everyone thought season 5 was like it, but they announced recently season 6 is going to be the last season they're releasing in. I forget when, October or November or next year or something. But that's really exciting.
Well, that way they get to capitalize on, maybe season 6, episode 6, segment 6, after the 5th commercial break, segment 6.
Oh, you were so smart. I actually never thought of that. So any further that missed that, they can capitalize on 666. Lucifer can capitalize. I got it. Totally. I'm actually very proud of myself for catching on to that. And, it also, I haven't watched many. I mean, I've seen lots of Star Trek and everything, but some of this stuff is reminding me of some Star Trek episodes I saw one time where in one episode, Picard was saying, apparently he had a grandmother and he put his grandmother on speed dial. And Riker is like, what? Okay, thanks for letting me know, I guess. And Picard says, yeah, I call that Instagram. So on that note, Bucktown, so you don't watch much TV or anything. So tell us anything you do watch, or have you been reading, or any media you've been up to lately?
Well, one thing that's been recent is Big Brother. So the reality show where they lock you in a house for whatever it is, like 3 weeks or something like that. Well, actually, it's longer than 3 weeks, like 3 months. So they had gone, I think it's 23 seasons or something.
Oh, wow.
And there had been, I think, one black person who had even made the final vote, and none ever won. And so this year there was they form alliances, like usually the first couple days, people get together and they strategize and they form alliances. And so there were 6 black contestants on this season of Big Brother, and they all formed an alliance called the Cookout. And they, won contest and voted out pretty much everybody else. So the final 6 contestants are all black, and everybody's talking about it on Twitter. It's the first time, and so now they're all competing against each other to see who ends up. And I think they're tonight is the final 3.
Wow!
The final 3. So it's pretty interesting there in Big Brother. And then of course I've been keeping up with the whole Jeopardy saga and who's going to be the host.
Oh, yeah. So I have a question for you later, so you don't have to get into that now.
Don't get into it now. Yeah, I won't spoil it. And then
I'm really
other
excited
media.
to ask you about that.
Other than that, I mean, I pretty much just watch sports, soccer, football,
You're a big baseball
racing.
tiggy, aren't you?
Yeah, baseball is not all that fun of a sport to watch, at least for me. Now, I love playing baseball, but to watch baseball, I mean, they've tried to come up with a pitch clock, and pitcher has to face 3 batters, and all these different rules to try to speed the game up because they're saying it takes too long. And it's like, well, they'll sit and watch a football game where it's 3.5 hours, but it's only 60 minutes of action. It's like, play hard for 2 seconds, rest for 35 seconds. Play hard 2 seconds, rest 35 seconds.
Or 35 minutes, as it may be.
Yeah. It's actually like 14 minutes of action in a football game. And the clock says 60 minutes. It's crazy, but then they won't watch baseball.
And it's like, what's that? Come on, guys. Step up to the plate, as it were.
Yeah. And then you got soccer where they're pretty much just running nonstop for 90. They run like a 10K except they're
Yeah.
sprinting. It's
Yeah.
like,
Right.
I
Wow.
couldn't do it. We used to play
Wow.
soccer at lunch at work back when we were in the office. Just
Mm-hmm.
pick up soccer game, and I would last maybe 5 minutes, and I was like,
Oh, yeah.
and they were just running circles around me.
Literally. Right.
Pretty much,
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
Nice.
will be fired for 5 minutes, and then I was done.
And then,
So,
I'm done. That was a great 5 minutes, but I'm going back inside and doing my work right now.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
Nice. Cool.
Go
Nice.
order a sandwich.
Actually, I'm not gonna run around and get exercise. I'm gonna go get a sandwich and maybe some ice cream. Sounds good.
Like the opposite of exercise.
The opposite. Oh yeah, the challenge for furs. So Bucktown, every week lately we've been doing a challenge for furs, and
Okay.
I don't know if I'd really call it a challenge because recently it's been like make toast. But with a caveat, make toast and send a picture and send it into the chat or something. Or fry an egg was one. I think one was make a paper airplane. Just make a paper airplane. It's a challenge, I guess. So this week's challenge for furs is so one time we had a challenge where we'd say record yourself reading your name or saying your name backwards and send it in, and then what we did was we played it and then reversed that and played that to see if it sounded like their name forward when they recorded backwards. So this week's challenge is to your sound, do that with your sound. So like if you're a pig, go oink, 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 but say it backwards, send it into the chat, and then we'll reverse it and play it backwards and see if it sounds like what it should sound like forwards, if that makes any sense. So basically, challenge is record your sound and send it in, and we'll do things with it. That's the first one right there. Nice. So all you furs, join the challenge with Bucktown. Bucktown did it, so you can too. So Rayne, what time is it?
It is time for that thing that you do every episode.
It is. And what is this segment called, Mr. Raccoon?
Furries in the news.
First, I said, oh, they are in. They're not as in much pain as I am, apparently, because it sounds like I'm in pain. They are in. I said, they are in. The furries are in the news park.
That is the most dissonant thing I've ever heard.
And that's the thing that I do, and there it is. And it's different every time. And I don't even know what I'm going to do before I do it. So you heard it here first, for what it's worth.
That was impressive.
That
That was so dissonant, it made harmony. It's like, wow.
It's so like bad, it actually went around full circle and made harmony. It's amazing.
All the way around.
All the way around. Yeah, so Furries in the News is a segment we do where we talk about furries in the news. Like if there's like been some news on the social media or whatever, we talk about that. Sometimes there's nothing. And this time there's actually something very interesting. Shout out to Rayne Raccoon for finding this.
Ooh.
It's an article from the news source is Futurism. It's a Rayne, is it a online only like news thing?
Yeah, I believe it's online only. It's kind of mainly just about like tech news and future news and stuff like that.
Yeah, so Futurism. And so this article is entitled Brain Implant Entrepreneur Says His Inbox is Filled with Furries. And there you go. And so we'll put a link to this on the website in the show, the little at the bottom on the webpage, we'll put a link to this article and you can go in and click through the links. But let me talk about it. So Max Hodak, I'm probably mispronouncing that. He co-founded Neuralink, which is their kind of motto is breakthrough technology for the brain. He co-founded this company with Elon Musk. So there you go. And he actually served as president until he left the neural implant company this May this year, 2021, and tweeted out an unusual request this weekend. And he tweeted. And so again, you can get in the show notes, in the link, you can, from this article, you can get a link to the tweet that he actually did, where he said, and I quote, "To all the furries in my inbox, patience, please. Hopefully technology will enable everyone to their best selves." Okay, so this is great. And like Max isn't like a furry or anything, so that's pretty cool. And he did not specify what exactly the furries were asking of him. Oof. But seeing as Hodak is someone who recently launched a new neurotech startup, he left Neuralink and he started a new startup, Neuralink or NeuroThing startup. And he's made actually lots of claims about the future of neural implants. It's actually easy to imagine why, the article goes, it's easy to imagine why such an enthusiastic role-playing community might flock to him. So, the article goes on to say, Hodak, alongside the self-proclaimed fur-curious Elon Musk, yes, I said the self-proclaimed fur-curious Elon Musk. This is the same Elon Musk that we all know and quote-unquote love. I'll talk about this fur-curious thing in a second after I talk about the main article here. So they have long hyped what neural implants would be available to deliver to the world. And for instance, he suggested that neural implants would allow for video games that program experiences directly into the brain's sensory regions, which would create a sort of virtual reality that projects straight into the brain. So you can actually play the game and actually be there. And so the article goes on to say that sounds great for all sorts of role-playing experiences, including turning yourself and your friends into furry anthropomorphic creatures. This is the news article that's saying this. So before the furry tweet, in fact, Hodak mused online that mixed reality will eventually become so all-encompassing that VR experiences will also create sensations like the feeling of wind blowing on one's skin. Holy cow, I say. The article didn't say that, but that's what I say. So you can imagine that he seems to be envisioning a full simulation that could allow someone, for instance, to live in an immersive persona simulation. And at the time of this article, Hodak hadn't responded to Futurisms, that is the news source's question about what specifically furries had asked of him, but given his thoughts that we've just talked about on immersive tech and new sensations being wired directly to the brain, it's intriguing to hear that he's asking for patience and therefore hinting that he's working on it. So that's actually pretty interesting and cool right there. And so I guess back to the Elon Musk thing, and you can get, again, links to these tweets in the show notes. Elon Musk, in April of 2019, he took to Twitter to deny he was a furry. But then minutes later, he added to this mystery by clarifying that he might identify as fur curious. And you might imagine there are lots of comments from both furs and normies to these tweets. So that was pretty cool. Every fur, check it out. In the show notes are links to these stories and this tweet. So that's pretty cool. And that's my furries in the news. Do you, Bucktown, happen to know of any kind of furry in the news type things happening recently?
Not recently in the news. I mean, I have some insider knowledge of some furries that may end up, being portrayed in media recently, like as not as a furry, but they're under NDA, and they told me under pain of NDA, so I can't say it. But yeah, it's potentially soon we'll hear some really cool stories about.
Well, that's exciting. I'm glad I said something, because that sounds. So all you furs out there, keep your earsies up for potential exciting things in the future, which I'm sure if we find out about them, it'll be on Furries in the News. So that's exciting. Oh, well, one of them we do know. I don't know if this is one you're talking about, but Chice. Is Chice one you're talking about?
I will neither confirm nor deny that it's this Chice.
Okay, you plead the fifth. Okay. So Chice has actually she's actually excited, wants to be on the show actually. So hopefully she'll be one of our guests in the near future. We'll see. So yes. So any further that doesn't know, Chice is actually helped in the creation of the Moderna vaccine, and she's apparently a furry. We talked about her in the Furries in the News several episodes ago, and hopefully she'll come on and we can talk to her. So that'll be great.
My favorite epidemiologist.
I'll actually make sure she knows that.
Chice, if you're listening, thank you for helping save my life.
Yeah, Team Moderna. Well, I'm actually Team Pfizer, but we're
Team Moderna.
You gotta have more than one team if you're gonna have
Team Moderna.
A team, I guess. You can't play exactly.
Yeah, you can't play without more than one team. So
I can imagine that gang battle in the streets. Yeah, I'm Moderna. I'm Pfizer. I could just see shooting viruses at each other.
Shooting virus? I thought I saw like a Pokemon meme or something where there was like team. It was Pokemon, but it was like Team Pfizer, Team Moderna, Team J&J or something.
Funny. And then AstraZeneca off in the corner.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like, sorry. You did your best. You tried, but we're just gonna have to disqualify you. Sorry.
Yeah.
Too many fouls. So after Furries in the News, we actually go on to talk about upcoming events, and there are some upcoming events happening. There's HCon 2021, September 29th through October 3rd in Petershof, Erbach, Germany. I don't know what those words mean, but there it is. And I don't know, is that a FurCon or is that a Comic-Con? What is that?
HCon. I think I've heard of HCon, but the only German cons that I know are, of course, Your Ferns.
Your Ferns.
There's also Method Minicon. I'm not sure if that one's still around. That was also in Germany. HCon would be a new one.
So we've also got coming up October 8th through 10 is Alamo City Furry Invasion in San Antonio.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and Bucktown, you're in that area or something, I think?
Yeah, in fact, that is right around my anniversary. In fact, that is our anniversary. And one year we took the train down to San Antonio, and it was the weekend of Alamo City Furry Invasion.
Oh, really?
So, yes, and so on the way back, we actually shared, we were on the same train with a couple of furs that were riding back up to New England from ACFI, and they are actually on their honeymoon. So it was really, really cool. It's like,
that is really cool.
Anniversary trip, honeymoon. But yeah, ACFI. I actually wasn't able to swing by. We spent the time we were down there over in Fredericksburg. We had an Oktoberfest there, and so we went there, and so we weren't actually.
It was your anniversary, so.
But yeah, ACFI. I heard it was a really fun time, and I know they're gonna have a blast.
Cool. So every fur, if you get a chance to check out ACFI, do so. I've also heard it's a pretty good fur con. So I haven't been, but I heard it's pretty good. Also, October, same weekend, you've actually already talked about going to this Bucktown. A Motor City Fur Con is coming up the same weekend as Alamo City. So check that out. That is in, what is that word? I didn't think that was a word. Ypsilanti, Missouri? No.
Ypsilanti.
What?
Yeah, Ypsilanti.
Okay.
Ypsilanti, Michigan.
I thought it was like in Detroit or something, but it's not.
Well, it's right outside Detroit. And so Ypsilanti, so you've got Detroit, and then you've got Ann Arbor, which is where University of Michigan is. And then Ypsilanti is the University of Eastern Michigan. But Ypsilanti is also known because they have a water tower that looks just like, well, let's just say it's a great city to hold a furry con in. We'll just leave it at that.
I am going to have to check this out now.
Yeah, it's the most phallic water tower you'll ever see.
Oh, you furs out there, who did... you furries.
It is fallacious.
My cow. It's very fallacious. Okay, so, yes, moving right on.
HCon is a furry con, by the way.
And it is HCon is a fur con. Okay, yeah.
Thanks, Rayne.
Rayne just told us that it is a fur con. And then also, same weekend as Motor City Fur Con and ACFI is Western PA Furry Weekend. And I think, didn't we have, so was it, remind me, Rayne if Manic Nux. So we had Manic Nux on the show recently.
Right.
Is that the one that he chairs?
It might be. I'd have to go back and look at the show notes.
I'd have to go. I think we've had the chair of that FurCon on the show before. So anyway, those are upcoming events, and that's just great. So Bucktown, before we go into our trivia, play us something on your keyboard there. Just anything.
Sure. Some suggestions. Let's see.
Do you remember? So we did "Smells Like Teen Spirit" together at Furlandia. It was one of the shows, one of the songs we did together. Play just a few seconds of that if you remember. Yes.
And all that kind of stuff.
Yes. Oh, I have to say, the memories are coming. I have a little tear in my puppy eye, I remember.
Aww.
So every fur, yes, go. Bucktown played that, and I was on drums at Furlandia.
Oh my God, so epic.
It was a really good time. It turned out, I was really happy with how that turned out. We did.
Brought back memories for me too, because that was the first time I met both of you.
Aww.
Oh, I'm so glad I suggested that song. I actually go back and watch that every now and then because it just brings back memories to this little puppet right here. Oh, I cry. Anyway, thank you so much for that. So much.
Of course.
Okay, so let's move right along to trivia. But guess what? So normally, every other show, we do a trivia thing where the co-host, Barely, would ask me some trivia questions, and I would try and use puppy logic to figure out the answer, because I don't know many things. But I'm going to spin it around and turn it around, and I would like us to play a game of Jeopardy!
Woo!
Woo! And before we do, could you give us you alluded to this before, so could you give us a recap of the host debacle and your thoughts on it?
So here's my thing with the host recap. There were 16 guest hosts, and of course Ken James was the first because he actually works for the show as a consultant. So he did a few weeks, and then they lined up a bunch of guest hosts. Of course, the internet wanted LeVar Burton. They clamored for LeVar Burton.
Yeah,
hundreds of thousands of signatures for LeVar Burton. I was team LeVar Burton. But Buzzy Cohen, former Tournament of Champions winner, also AAU National Deadlift Champion, Buzzy Cohen. He hosted the Tournament of Champions, and he really knocked it out of the park. Like, I thought he did a great job, and I said, Buzzy set a really high bar. I hope LeVar can jump over it. And so I'm going to be honest. I know this is a podcast, and I know we're running short on time, but I'm going to go ahead and say this. LeVar Burton got sabotaged, in my opinion. I think the executive producer at the time,
you heard it here first, you furs,
Mike Richards, set LeVar Burton up to fail. And I know this will probably disqualify me from any reunion tournaments or anything if they ever hear this. But LeVar was set up to fail. Okay, Exhibit A, he was set up against the Olympics. He was only given 1 week instead of 2. All the guest hosts, most of them got 2 weeks, except the last 3 only got 1 week each, or last 5 got 1 week each. LeVar was one of those. He went up against the Olympics. Of course, his rating is going to be low because there were multiple markets. NBC markets did not air Jeopardy during the Olympics, like not even like at 2 a.m. or 3 a.m.
Wow.
They didn't air Jeopardy at all, except like some digital only alternate channel. You had to go and hunt for it. And so, of course, his ratings were going to be bad. His first episode, he had literally the worst contestant, well, the worst performer. I'm not going to say worst contestant, because if you make it on the show, that's an accomplishment in itself. Only the 0.5% of people that even try to make it on the show ever make it. And so, to
Oh, wow.
that all the contestants are really amazing and they will beat 99% of Americans in trivia. But the lowest score ever in the history of Jeopardy was posted in LeVar's first game.
Oh.
Minus 8,400.
Yeah, that's so
Yeah,
good.
his first game. And, I'm not going to say that was, intentional, but by the time you've made it to Jeopardy, you've taken the test multiple times. You've done auditions probably multiple times. They have hundreds of data points as far as questions, what you know, what you don't know on you. So they know, who's going to go on a big streak, and who's probably not going to do as well, the playing styles, who's going to, buzz in every question, whether they know it or not. So they had a pretty good idea who was going to do what. And then Exhibit C, I think I'm on C or maybe D, his fourth episode.
Maybe Z, I don't know.
So many exhibits. So his fourth episode, at the last segment when they're doing Final Jeopardy, his audio and his video were off sync by a full, and I always say 1,000 milliseconds because it sounds more dramatic, but a full second audio video out of sync. Yeah, and if you ever watched,
not useful.
Yeah, and this made it to air. Like Jeopardy is so meticulous on everything when it comes to the clues, the quality, always impeccable writing, impeccable hosting, impeccable editing, and for them to let that slip through in air, I mean, come on. You can't sit here and tell me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the executive producer had final say over what episodes went to the focus group so they could evaluate all the different hosts. You think they sent LeVar's best episode? Because he clearly was nervous in his first few episodes. He made some mistakes. And so I don't think he did nearly as well as, say, Buzzy Cohen or, some of the other hosts. But he clearly got better as the week went on. And do you think that the EP sent his best episode to the focus group? Well, I don't know which episode he's in.
No.
But anyway, I still think that they set LeVar up to fail, to try to, basically sabotage his performance. But having said that, I'm team hire Buzzy. I think Buzzy did the best job, and I think he would make a wonderful host. But whoever they end up going with full time, I'm still going to support the show because I support the contestants. I know what it takes to get on the show. I know this is people's lifelong dream to be on Jeopardy, and there's some really talented and charismatic individuals on the show, and I'm going to support them. So, kudos to everyone.
Nice. Yeah. And so for any furry, I mean, we've already alluded to this before, but for any furry that doesn't know, Bucktown has been not only on the show, but made it to the Tournament of Champions, and he's done great, won lots of money from it. And there's lots of videos. You can see it on YouTube of our very own Bucktown doing wonderful, amazing is what I'm trying to say, things. So shout out to the Tiggy.
Oh, thanks.
Bark.
Thanks. I'm kind of scared to see if they're still out there. Uh-oh. But yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. So maybe don't go looking for them.
Yeah, go look for them. Sure.
So let's play Jeopardy, where I will be Alex Fluff, I guess.
Trabark.
Or Ken Fluffings. I don't know, one of the two. And so that's me. And so, Bucktown, you will be playing against our very own Rayne Raccoon.
I'm going to get smoked.
That's what Rayne said to me earlier. It's like, no, I'm going to get smoked. Because
that's exactly what I said.
That is actually exactly what I said. So there are only 3 categories, kitty-gories, as it were. And those kitty-gories are animal facts, game shows, and fluff. So Bucktown, you go ahead and go first. What would you like?
I think I'm going to go fluff for 800.
800. Go all in. Okay. Fluff for 800. This raccoon is the chief fact checker for a furry podcast. Oh, that was Rayne that rung in.
Who is Rayne Raccoon?
Yes, that would be the answer. Yay.
Nice.
Okay.
800.
Sorry, Bucktown, you actually didn't have a chance there.
So, Rayne, you get to choose.
Yes. Rayne, to you, animal facts or game shows?
Let's go with animal facts.
Okay.
For 800.
800. Okay. Let's see, which one would be the 800? Samoyed is the answer.
What is a breed of dog?
Judges, are we going to take that? Not quite. Sorry, Rayne, we can't quite take it. Bucktown, do you have the answer?
What is a husky?
Sorry, can't quite give it to any of you. The question is, what is one of the floofiest dogs on Earth? So close, close to both of you.
Very close.
Not very, very close.
It is floofy.
So that goes to you, Rayne. Then again, animal facts or game shows?
Let's go with animal facts for 400.
Okay, 400. That might be better. So 400, this animal is the fastest on Earth and can run up to 75 miles per hour.
Oh, I believe Bucktown got it first.
Okay, Bucktown.
What is a cheetah?
That is correct. Yes. So 400 to Bucktown.
So I'm at
Great.
minus 400 now.
That's great. Better than being at minus 800. So Bucktown.
Game show 6.
For 6. Okay. This person holds the record for the longest winning streak on Jeopardy with 74 consecutive wins. Bucktown.
Who is Ken Jennings?
Yes, definitely. Definitely Ken. Awesome.
Animal facts 2.
Animal facts for 2. So this animal can survive for 2 to 3 days without drinking any water because they get their water from their food and dew on the plants. Rayne.
What is a camel?
No, sorry, Bucktown.
What is an ant?
No, sorry. The question is, what is a giraffe?
You're
because
so
they
close.
have the long neck, so they can do so close. And actually, maybe camel might have, but that's maybe Rayne will give you half
the camel. Yeah,
half the points. Yeah, give him the camel. Here, now you have a camel. You're stuck with it.
Ooh, I don't know anywhere to put it.
Don't stub your toe though, because then you might end up with a
that kind of toe.
Yeah, that kind of toe.
So the one answer left. So I'm just going to call it out to both of you then. For 1,000. No pressure. This kitty had a 7-game winning streak on Jeopardy.
He got it first.
Bucktown. What is the question?
Who is Bucktown Tiger?
Yes! Yay! 1,000 goes to Bucktown. As if I didn't set you
lucky.
up for that or anything. You're just lucky. What wonderful guess. And there you have it.
I still think Ray won because I was like so negative. I think I was like negative 600.
You were negative the whole time. Like, get a little more optimistic. Oh my cow, Tiggy.
It's like COVID tests, thankfully.
Yes. So congratulations, Tiggy, for winning. You got the negative COVID test. Thank you. That was great. Yes. So thank you everyone for tuning in to Jeopardy with our very own Bucktown Tiger. And so, Rayne, where does that end us with?
That leaves us with, we did the trivia, so that leaves us with the closing.
Yay! We made it. How did
we made it? Wow, we survived.
We made it. Yes. So Bucktown, please say your goodbyes to all the furs in the Podverse right now.
Well, I want to thank you all for tuning in. I really hope you enjoyed the show. I hope you laughed a bit. I hope you learned a bit because, we're always learning. We're always living. If we're not learning, then something's
And
going
maybe
on.
you cried a little bit,
Hopefully you cried. Cried with laughter. Cried because the singing and the piano playing was so awful. I don't know. Hopefully you still have your hearing.
Oh, and your earring, which
and your earring.
Was great.
Nose ring, tongue ring. But no, seriously, it was really great being here. You guys do a wonderful show, and I'm just glad to be part of it. And, I hope to be back soon. Until then, Paul recognize Paul, and keep in mind that you can always make more money, but you can't make more time. So spend your time like it's your time.
I loved it. Parting shot. Wow, so much inspiration. Parting shot, so great. Got to spend that time because that's totally right. So yes, thank you everyone for tuning in. Thank you so much for Bucktown for being co-host tonight. You were so great. It's so always great to see you and talk to you. Thanks so much to Rayne for coming in and doing this things that you do and all the work you do for our show and everything. So for any further that didn't know, Rayne is on our staff and he does a lot of hard work for us. So thank you so much. And of course, as I always say, thank you so much everyone for listening. It means so much for us. We have some Patreons and some furs that have helped out on Ko-Fi, so thank you so much for all your support and all you've done, just listening or contributing, however you've done that. Again, I say thank you so much, and until next week, when we bark at you again, we say moo bark fluff and stay furry.
And don't forget to buy our merch.
And don't forget to buy our merch.
Barely Furcasting is an Injured Nerves studio production and is found on all major podcast platforms or can be heard directly at barelyfurcasting.com. The opinions expressed here are those of the hosts and the guests, and no commercial compensation was granted. The Furcast is produced, recorded, and directed by Barely Normal, aka Mike Vegan, and is edited by Barely Normal and associate editors Rayne Raccoon and Bixby Wolf. This week's episode was guest produced, recorded, and edited by Rayne Raccoon. Opening and closing theme music, as well as some interstitial music, was created for Injured Nerves Productions for the use on the podcast by our music associate Regday with Damien Tanuki. If you would like to hear more music by Regday, you can search for Tweezerbeak on Bandcamp or Hoop Loop Tunes on SoundCloud. Other interstitial and background music by Shane Ivers through SilvermanSound.com, Gator Tots on SoundCloud.com, and the YouTube free use library. You can send us a message via email at barelyfurcasting@gmail.com or on our Telegram chat at BFFTchat, on Twitter, on our Facebook page, or on the barelyfurcasting.com webpage. The show is supported through donations at ko-fi.com/barelyfurcasting or through Patreon at patreon.com/barelyfurcasting. Thanks for listening. We hope you come back and listen next week.